Another day at the winter meetings. More talk from Dana Brown. Chandler Rome drops a little bit of a prediction bomb. Max Fried signs a record guaranteed contract for a left-handed pitcher. What does that mean for Framber? There's so many things to talk about. Let's get going right now.
This is Walker Yannick. You're listening to Locked On Astros podcast.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Heisman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chansey.
We are Locked On Houston Astros, and we update you joins for a daily Locked On Astros podcast. You can find me at X at Eric Talk Stros. You can find the show at Locked On Astros, your team every day. Brett, where can you find you at?
They can find me at H-Town Wheelhouse on X, Instagram, and TikTok at Stros411 on X and on Facebook, and at Back to the Bullpen on X, on Instagram, on YouTube, and iHeartRadio. Look, always positive, always Stros.
Hey guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day, whether it's on YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe to us. Make us your first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Go and check us out. You can start the holiday season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet and you get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Just visit FanDuel.com to get started today. So, guys, I really appreciate y'all tuning in. We had a lot of good interaction yesterday. Just go ahead and make sure you subscribe to us. Make us your first listen. And today, we're going to be kind of continuing the conversation. There's been a lot more talk about, I think yesterday, the national media and a lot of the GMs were like, wait, Dana Brown is serious about possibly trading Kyle Tucker? And so a lot of people are like, holy crap, this is a possibility. And you know who's crying the most for Kyle Tucker? Exactly the team that I said yesterday, which is the New York Yankees. And the reason why is they have to replace Juan Soto. And the fact that what they did today, they knew that a lot of fans were pissed off the fact that they didn't get Juan Soto, but they went out and signed Max Fried for 8-year, $218 million to go pitch. That's a record contract for a left-handed pitcher. So this is going to hurt the Astros' chances of re-signing Framber Valdez, meaning that they're probably going to have to sign him. I know that Fried is a year younger than Framber Valdez, and he's going to be 2 years younger by the time Valdez reached free agency. I know that's a different situation, but I think that Framber Valdez has had a little bit more success. Maybe Fried has been a little bit more consistent at times, but I think I don't think that you're going to be able to get Framber Valdez to sign a 3-year deal. This guy's going to be looking, he's become a free agent in his 32nd season or something like that. So he's going to be looking for maybe not an 8-year deal, but he'll be looking for a 6 to 7-year deal, which Jim Crane has made it very clear that he doesn't want to do.
Yeah, it's sad that we paid Lance McCullers Jr. 5 years, $85 million. But I would venture to say if you paid Lance McCullers that, you might as well entertain a 6 or 7 year deal for someone like Framber Valdez. If he was 2 years younger, he's 31. Like you mentioned, he's a little bit older than Fried, not much. When you look at the two, number one, they're both lefties. Okay. Framber Valdez, from 21 to 24 has won 10 games or more in a row. Where you have Max Fried, he was 8-1 in 23. I believe he dealt with some injuries that year. He didn't have as many. He only played in 14 games, but Eric, he's won 17 games, 14 games twice, and he was 11-10 in 2024. It's a big haul for a guy, but it really helps the Yankees in that they have some young guys in Lewis Gill. They got Carlos Rodon. Now they got Rodon. They've got Cole. They've got Fried. Now, and they have, who they had last year. Clark Schmidt, I believe, is in there as well. Hey, the Rangers made a move. The Rangers are signing Nathan Eovaldi
for 3 years, 75
Yeah,
million.
yeah. So they're re-signing him. So everybody's kind of doing their thing, and the Astros are in a holding pattern. Dana Brown is like, well, we really like the idea of getting Alex Bregman back, and we'd really like to have him here. And how confident are you? Well, we're really confident. We made progress today. What kind of progress? Well, we can't really talk about that. It's just progress. Like, we're better today than we were yesterday. And I'm like, oh my gosh, the lip service is atrocious with the Astros. But Eric, I can get behind a deal if Framber Valdez, if Kyle Tucker is on the table with the Rays, the Royals, okay, not the Yankees. I don't want to trade him to the Yankees. Why? Because I don't want the Astros facing the Yankees in the ALCS. The Rays, I don't know that we're in danger of playing them in the ALCS. The National League, the Padres, I think, have a good farm system. I was just looking at this today. You need to go with people that have top 5 or top 10 farm systems and go there, but you need a major league ready piece, 2 top prospects, and maybe 1 other major league ready piece. I think you take 4. If he potentially makes that kind of money, you've got to get something back for that. Who knows? It's just, it's so hard to tell, Eric, because from what Chandler Rome said today, when he dropped the bomb today of his prediction, his bold prediction that Kyle Tucker will not play in an Astros uniform in 2025, he said they will look to restock their farm system with Kyle Tucker. And the Astros hold their farm system higher than anybody. But what team is the right team to do that? And you got to be careful who you trade him to, because you don't want it to hurt you for years and years.
Yeah, and I know the Astros are taking this consideration, but at the same time, they have lost all these stars over the year. George Springer,
Yeah.
Carlos Correa, Garrett Cole. The list goes on and on. Carlos Correa, I may have mentioned him, but a whole bunch of other players that they have lost. They've gotten some picks for, but they've really not getting like top talent for these guys. And the talent they have gotten, they've had to trade to become better to go to the playoffs. So what you have is the Astros are not in a system to continue to contend because they don't have the continuous wave of prospects. Yes, they have some contributors. They don't have the high talent levels. Bryce Matthews, I think he's going to be a great player. Walker Yannick, he's going to be a great player, but you don't have those superstars like you see the Orioles that are powering the Orioles right now. And so trading a guy like Kyle Tucker, this could give you a surplus. This could rebuild your farm system instantly and give you some help right now. Maybe even if you trade Framber Valdez, yes, it would hurt. It would definitely hurt your chances for 2025. But the Astros will. Don't worry. They met with somebody today at the winter meetings. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. But there are some incentives, some different ways. We'll talk about what Dana Brown said about Alex Bregman in a little bit. But Kyle Tucker, he is worth a lot. And a lot of people were saying, well, it's just like the Red Sox trading Mookie Betts. It's just like last year, the Padres trading Juan Soto away. Yes, it is. It sucks, but the Padres knew that they weren't going to be able to re-sign him. The Red Sox knew they were going a different direction. They were not going to be winning at that time. And then all of a sudden, I think they corner pretty soon, but they also wanted to dump David Price's salary a little bit. So
I think the Nationals benefited from the Juan Soto trade. I think the Padres benefited from Juan Soto going from the Padres to the Yankees, Eric. The Yankees gave up quite a bit for Juan Soto, didn't they?
Yeah, but to the Padres, not to the Nationals.
No, Nationals. He went from the Nationals to the Padres.
Yes. Right, but I'm talking about for a rental situation, which is Kyle Tucker then. Yeah. And I've got the players. We'll talk about that coming up. What would a potential trade look like? We're going to look at the Mookie Betts trade. We'll look at what's possibly we can look at what happened with the Juan Soto trade last year to the Yankees. So much, guys. Thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. Go ahead, subscribe to us, and we'll be back in a second.
FanDuel.com is a place you need to go to place all your bets this season. That's right. Coming up Monday night, we've got the Broncos and the Browns. Before you say that's not a great matchup, the Browns upset the Steelers last week. Can they do it again? And if you bet that first $5 bet on Cleveland with a plus 210, then you would win $150 in bonus bets. That's right. Get the app. Why? Because anytime you get a hunch middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, live play-by-play, and so much more on the same game where you place your bets. Go to FanDuel.com today just to join. Again, $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet at FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
Hey guys, thank you. Hey guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day, whether it's on YouTube. Go subscribe to us, make his first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, and sometimes during commercial breaks, you talk to yourself because you think you're on camera, but you're not. But Brett, one team that you didn't really mention, the two names we've heard that are definitely interested in Kyle Tucker are the Cubs and the Yankees. And the Yankees was this the name that you're going to hear a lot of buzz about, but the Cubs are an interesting name. I know there's been a lot of talk about them trading Cody Bellinger. I think that's because of the arbitrage of a contract that he has, and he's not a bad player, but they want to dump the salary. But Pete Crow Armstrong is a guy that you do want to look at for in that trade. That would cover center field or seal center field for many years to come. And they have also some other prospects that definitely in the pitching department that would definitely fit in here. But what Dana Brown is having to do is, and Jim Crane is, he's having to take a little bite of reality or whatever the phrase is. And he has to realize that eventually you can't keep on letting these guys go and get nothing. Sure, you get a compensation pick, but this year's compensation pick for Bregman is like going to be 5th round. What's a 5th round pick going to do for 5th round pick? It's not going to do much for you. So that's why they're like, well, let's go ahead and try to get some players back in this situation. Do I want Kyle Tucker to go? No. I just bought a freaking jersey for him this last year. Granted, it was when they're on sale for $50, but still, he's one of my favorite players. But I don't want to see him go. But at the same time, somebody said, "Well, I think Kyle Tucker will accept a contract for 5 years, $185 million." No. He's going to want not close to what Juan Soto got, but he's going to be young. He's going to want a massive deal. And he's going to get it because teams, once they realize, they hear all the chatter this year, all eyes are going to be on Kyle Tucker. If he stays the Houston Astros this year, all eyes are going to be on the Astros and Kyle Tucker. And if the Astros get off to a bad start, guess what? At the trade deadline, he'll be traded.
Well, I mean, Spirac puts him at 7 years, 195, and that's a starting point. I mean, they had Juan Soto at like $600 million. He got $665 million plus $75 million signing bonus. I still think a way that you keep Bregman here in town is you give him the signing bonus. Crane's never really done that. Give him a signing bonus, sign him, make him happy, trade Kyle Tucker for prospects, rebuild your farm system. See if you can't sign Framber Valdez. Maybe he gives you more of a team-friendly deal because of the whole psychology thing, the whole camaraderie with the guys that he's pitched with for several years. Maybe he's softened the heart there, but then again, maybe his ego's gotten so big that it is all about the money. I mean, the bottom line is, guys, it's about getting that bag, and it's about setting yourself up in a way that every one of us would set ourselves up. There's all this talk about, guys aren't loyal to the team, and all the Yankees fans are like, all Soto cares about is the money. And I'm like, do you think he went to the Yankees thinking, you know what, I'm going to go to the Yankees, and then I'm going to take a discounted deal, and I'm not going to get paid as much
He
as
was
I'm
traded
worth.
to the Yankees.
Yeah. Well, but what I'm saying is, do you think like he had the mindset of, yeah, I'll just go and hopefully I get like, if the Yankees make me an offer, I'm just going to be, the good guy and just take. No, you're going to go out and get. I mean,
Right.
if right now with Max Fried, Eric, making that $200-something million contract for 8 seasons, signing a pitcher for 8 years is insane. As bad as the Yankees fans say that the contract was, it's a 5-year contract though, not an 8-year contract.
I know.
What I'm saying is the Yankees fans are all like, oh, the Juan Soto contract was bad. Well, actually, it is a bad contract, to be honest with you. But 8 years for a pitcher in this environment with the amount of UCL and shoulder and elbow issues, and it's just, I would not give a guy more than 5 years. I mean, I don't see a rash of pitchers getting 8-year deals. The Yankees did that because they overplayed their hand with Juan Soto, and when Max Fried and his people went to him, I'm pretty sure I wasn't there, but I'm pretty sure they're like, oh, you only went 6 years? You're willing to give Juan Soto 16 years. Max Fried, he's a pitcher. Look how solid he's pitched. Mm-hmm. This guy, we want at least 8 years, and they did it. So they had to overpay. What's that?
Kyle and Tucker, here's a report from the Cubs.
Yeah, see that? Yeah. Kyle Tucker would. Yeah, well, the Cubs have prospects. They're in the National League. Look, I'm all for getting all the stars and putting them in the National League. I mentioned this last night on Back to the Bullpen with Mike, and I said, you've got Ohtani in the National League, Eric. You've got Fernando Tatis Jr. in the National League. Now you have Juan Soto in the National League. I'm sorry, if Kyle Tucker's on an Astro, throw him in the National League. Throw all these stars in the National League. They all got to duke it out in a World War Classic just to get to the World Series. So you won't have Juan Soto versus Tatis Jr. You won't have Soto versus Ohtani. You'll maybe have that in the NLCS, Eric. But now, look, just don't trade with the Yankees. For God's sakes, don't trade with the Yankees, because you're probably going to beat them in the ALCS. I mean, the Astros have 7 up to 9 pitchers is what Dana Brown is saying where they're at right now. And they have as many as 10 pitchers if Uola and some of those guys come up. Don't do that. So I see you have on here some wiggle room for Bregman. I think it gives wiggle room for Bregman.
Before we get there, there is such a thing that a team trading for a player like Alex Bregman, they do have a 72-hour window to talk to a player. Let's say the Cubs, the Yankees, they kind of have a general idea of a framework of a deal. They can say, hey, Astros, we want to meet with Tucker's agent. We want to go ahead and try to do extension and do a sign and trade type thing. So a team can do that. And so let's say the Yankees trade for Tucker. They're more likely to extend Tucker just like that than maybe the Cubs or any other team. So that would also increase. That would also increase the number of prospects that they would give, because I think if they're around for long term, that would increase the value versus just a rental.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just amazing how, like, the second that Dana Brown mentioned publicly about Kyle Tucker, everybody was like, boom. It was like, I know, but it was like vultures on a carcass, man. And here's another point. You know why I think they did it? I think some of Dana's thinking and the Astros thinking, look how well we did in coming back in the second half of the season, and we didn't have Kyle Tucker.
Yeah, but they do also need to fill in his.
No. I'm not saying they don't need to fill his shoes. Right. Yeah, he puts a void in the lineup, right? But I'm just saying they were able to see the Astros perform without him there. Now, they also had Bregman there kind of heating up. And so I just wonder where their mind goes with this. So Greg Little says, I'm hearing that the Red Sox are slowly backing away from Bregman. From what I understand, from what Gabby told me at Locked on Red Sox, Eric, is she had shared with me that the Red Sox were shying away from signing Bregman to a deal because they have guys in the minor league system that they feel like Bregman would block if they signed him. Because the Red Sox have some really, really good prospects right now. They've got like the number 3 or number 5 farm system. So if that's the case, I don't think Bregman's market is that big at all. I think it's Houston. It might be Toronto, but Toronto does. I mean, they say they're going to be talking to Vladdy, but Toronto's ownership and Toronto's ownership group, they're not good at handling stuff. I mean, they've let these guys ride long enough with doing nothing for it.
Yeah. So, guys, thank you for making Locked on Astros podcast your first listen every day.
Milo, stop. Milo, stop.
Welcome back to Locked on Astros podcast. My name is Eric Heisman. He is Brett Chansey with Milo in the background. And we are glad that you... No, we are glad that you make us part of your daily routine, and we appreciate each one of you. We got 174 listeners here. Why don't you hit that little subscribe button there? And we are continuing this conversation. A lot of talk about Kyle Tucker, a lot of talk about Alex Bregman, a lot of talk about Framber Valdez in the first couple segments. If you missed it, go ahead and go back and check it out. But we do want to go and continue the conversation. I did hear a little bit of hesitation. I think that Alex Cora, of course, a former manager of Alex Bregman, he was all aboard of bringing Bregman over there. I think the president was all aboard, but there are several people over there that are kind of balking a little bit with having Bregman do another position change to learn a new position. Not that he's old, but just do a position change. So that was another position.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, they have guys in the wings, infielders, prospects. So he's going to block them if they want to bring them up. So, but I think really the two headline topics are, if you're going to trade Kyle Tucker and you're either going to deal Framber at the trade deadline or you're going to let Framber walk, you got plenty of room to sign Bregman. I mean, there's not even a discussion. You sign Bregman, you give him 185 for 6. Why not? I mean, you're not paying Tucker.
But it goes back to, well, why let this all leak? I know that it's at the winter meetings and he's trying to get this all going. But if you're trying to sell Alex Bregman, we're here, we're trying to win for the next couple of years. A lot of people have questioned that, but I think the thing is, Alex Bregman has seen the farm system. He knows that it's thin, and maybe he might be buddies with Kyle Tucker. He might be buddies with Framber Valdez. He's had to cool him down many times on the mound, but they know that this is a business, and also they know that they have to refuel the pipeline every once in a while, and that's what these trades are. It's not a waving the white flag. This is a way to say, hey, we're trying to get better, and that's what Dana Brown said. And to address what you said earlier, he didn't confirm that they've made another offer yet, but he said that we have a little wiggle room to raise the offer to Bregman. And so they're wanting to get this done, but you have all these other teams that are probably going to raise their price, especially as the other free agents go off the board. And that makes somebody like Alex Bregman a little bit more desirable. But at the same time, you would think that he would be numero uno out there because he is the best third baseman out there. He's a clutch guy. He's a guy that is a good leader, and a lot of teams know that. So why is it taking so long?
Because I don't think his market is as big as Boris wants it to be. I've said that before the winter meetings ever got here, that Bregman's market is inflated in the mind of Boris. Mm-hmm. It is not as big as I really don't. Now I want to address something here. Joey Ramos says the Astros cannot afford to be trading anybody. The current state of the Astros is only going down. We either need to sign Bregman or let him or extend Tucker. I like Tucker more than Bregman, I think, is what he's saying. But actually, Ramos, I'm going to disagree with you, sir. The Astros actually can afford to trade, because if you trade a Kyle Tucker, you are going to get a haul. Okay. Now, this isn't going to be the Herschel Walker trade. Okay. I don't know, Eric, if you even do you remember what the Herschel Walker trade was? Herschel
No,
Walker.
but I do need to talk about the other two trades that we teased earlier.
We will. The Herschel Walker trade was the Cowboys and the Vikings, the Chargers. It was 18 players, the largest trade in NFL history. I'm not saying we're going to get 18 players, but we're going to get a haul, and it would definitely be beneficial.
Yes. So everybody keeps on saying, well, trading Kyle Tucker would be the worst things for the Astros, just like what he just said, because of the situation. Well, they can't win now. Well, you have a team like the Padres that got better after trading Juan Soto, because it's the type of players they got back. So last year, the Yankees traded Johnny Brito, Kyle Higashioka. I probably butchered that. Michael Keane. That Michael Keane is worth it just right there. Drew Thorpe and Randy Vasquez. And they also, the Mets also got Trent Grisham in that trade. So basically, it was a 4-for-2 deal there. And then if you go back to the Mookie Betts trade, this was also a way to get rid of David Price in a way, to get that. He had a massive contract salary at the time, but it ended up working out for him. But they sent Betts, David Price, and half a Price's salary to the Dodgers for Alex Verdugo, Jeter Downs, and catcher Connor Juan. Jeter Downs is no longer with the Red Sox. They ended up trading him, but Connor Juan is the only player that's left from that deal.
Yeah. Jeter Downs has been a downer. He was actually named after Derek Jeter.
That's why they're prospects. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. And, look, this is Mike's quote, but prospects are one step away from being suspect. So that's kind of what he said. Brian McTaggart just put an article out, and Dana Brown said they were asking him about starting pitching, even though they feel like they have a solid number going in. He said, if we have an opportunity in different trades or anything to acquire a starter, I'm always in the business for a starter. I don't think you can ever have enough. I think especially Eric after last year and all the injuries they had, that's very real. And again, Tiki mentions this. The reason why we're talking about trading Kyle Tucker is I need one person in here to admit that the Astros tell me if you think the Astros would actually pay $400 million for Kyle Tucker. They won't. They're not going to.
They won't even go past 6 years for Alex Bregman.
Right. And look, Kyle Tucker, 5-tool player, Gold Glover, higher OPS than Juan Soto. He's not a better hitter overall than Juan Soto. I mean, Juan Soto has at least got a clutch gene in the playoffs. That's the one knock on Kyle Tucker. But Kyle Tucker brings a heck of a lot because of age, because of experience. And he doesn't have an injury history. He fouled a ball off his shin. That's a freak accident. So that's not like, oh, well, he's injury prone. He's not Byron Buxton. He's not these guys that are oft injured, right?
We know this because this is the way the market is going. Just look at the Juan Soto trade. He got the signing. He got $51 million to play baseball. The market is trending up for these stars. If you think you can get somebody like Kyle Tucker to play baseball for the Houston Astros for 5 years, $25 million per year, I'm sorry, that's just not going to happen. It's just what the market is. I don't care how much he loves playing for the Houston Astros, how much he loves the organization, how committed he is. He's got all this potential to make a future for his kids, and he's going to take care of that. And so if you have owners throwing money at you just like this, making it rain like crazy, you're not going to I'm sorry, there's no such thing as loyalty anymore.
Well,
You see that with Altuve, you see that with some players, but not in this situation. That's how I know.
Well, the phrase "making it rain," I mean, it's got to be a torrential downpour for that. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if Juan Soto wanted to go make it rain right now? Oh my gosh! Like you would feel, everybody in the club's getting tips. I mean, I'm just saying, like, it is insane money, Eric. It is absolutely insane. Now, Arenado,
real quick, Brett.
Yeah.
We do need to talk about. I was going to bring that up, but Jorge Polanco met with the Astros today and with the Blue Jays. So maybe that is what Dana Brown mentioned about some progress with on the free agency market. Yeah. I know he doesn't make you go ooh or whatever. Last year had a bad season, 213. He doesn't make you go swing like back in old days, but 651 last year, 16 home runs, 45 RBIs. He had a bad season for the last year, but he, like in 2021, 33 home runs.
Eric, Jorge Polanco is horrible. Jorge Polanco is stop. Okay, Jorge
He's
Polanco,
a backup to the backup regional manager. So
yes, he is the assistant to the regional manager. Yeah, he was good 19 and 21. Thank you, Will Bite. And that is the point. And that is why if you're talking these other options, might as well get someone like Arenado. He's a former MVP, 22. We're not talking former MVP. What's his name? What was that guy's name? Jose Abreu, the guy I met at Buc-ee's. He's not him. But I think he could be him here in Houston. Now, Arenado.
Wait, was that why Abreu started sucking? Because he met you at Buc-ee's?
No, dude. That dude, no, that had nothing to do with me. That was during the ALCS. Okay. That was during the ALCS. Yeah. That had nothing to do with me. But look, Chris Reyes, no. Arenado, dudes. Josh Donaldson 2.0. I don't think he's that bad.
He's 31 years old. He still has a mindset that he's a valuable player. He's a great defender. He'll go out there, and I think that the Astros are one of 5 teams that have shown genuine interest in him, and so we'll see what happens. But they're looking to get Bregman first, but at the same time, they're trying to explore all the options.
So here's the deal. And I know we've gone past the 32-minute mark, but who cares? This is good stuff to talk about. Supreme Panda on our show, regular viewer, appreciate your viewership, is convinced that Jim Crane has got money to sign superstars. Okay. Having money to sign people versus actually doing it and putting your club in a bad place financially are two different things. Okay. Steve Cohen is always going to break through the tax bracket. He's going to go to double rods to the league and say, Steve Cohen tax, I don't care. LA is going to always outspend Houston. New York is always going to outspend Houston. Houston is never going to get that. When you see a $1 billion TV deal for the Houston Astros, then and only then will you see a Houston Astros owner go out and do what other teams are doing. But there is a shift in the mindset and the way they do things to get back, because the way the lottery system is, the fewer rounds in the MLB draft, it's harder to get good players. Do you know why the Yankees were so good for so long, Eric? Before there's a regulation of the draft and where people went, the Yankees would just pay the top prospects to come to New York. That's how they built their team. They scouted, they found the guys, and they paid them the most money. And that's how they won. Now you have to suck really bad to get a lottery pick. Okay. And even if you're one of the bottom teams, you're not one of the top teams, you get like a 0.27% chance of getting that lottery ping pong ball, like in the NBA lottery. And it's just a system. And that is why we are saying trade Tucker now. Don't wait till midseason. Don't let him walk. If you're going to, and I promise you, there are teams that have been offering some really, really good deals. There's no way Kyle Tucker's on the table for even an hour and they don't get a couple deals. They're going, oh my gosh, this is a good package. This is where we need to go. And they will get, I think they get a major league ready player. I think they get 2 top prospects, and I think they get a position player, a bat, and I think they get an arm because Dana Brown wants an arm and 2 top prospects. I would do that because that would tell me there's no way they were going to sign Kyle Tucker anyways. The only reason why you get Kyle Tucker, why you keep him, is you sign him to an extension this year. You make the announcement, we're signing Kyle to a contract extension, 8 years, how much ever money it is, right? That's the only way. And if you're not going to make that announcement this offseason, you got 2 options. Trade him or sign him now.
Yeah. So we don't know what's going to happen. We know that the Rule 5 draft is coming up. We'll see if anything happens on Astros front. We know that there's still another day of the winter meetings at least. I think it ends on Thursday. But we don't know what's going on, but we know that there are some things in motion and things that this is laying the groundwork for future moves. So we'll see what happens, but we know that Dana Brown is doing what he can. He knows where the club is right now. He knows where they need to be and what they need to do. And that's what he meant by be creative. And I don't know if he really thought that meant trading Kyle Tucker, but at this point, he is their ace of spades. He is going to be the thing that could win them the next few seasons because he can get a dynamic return. I'm talking about a 4 to 5 player return. And definitely be something that you can build your future off of. Yes, it's going to hurt in 2025, especially if you get a lot of young players. But if you get somebody like Jason Dominguez or somebody like in return, somebody of that who hasn't proved himself at that level yet.
And so, hey, just to address this, they're wanting to. Tendo Plays is wanting to package Tucker and Valdez. No, you do not. If you got 2 guys of this magnitude, you do not package them together. I had said just straight up Valdez for Casas. It's about the same in Major League Baseball trade values. Why? Casas has 4 years of control. Valdez has 1. Okay. If you're going to trade Valdez, get that first baseman that's going to be there for the next 4 years. You don't have to pay him a ton of money. You're not out a ton of money. You don't have to pay Valdez when he's up for the contract. You've got other pitchers coming up. That could be something that you do, or you go ahead and re-sign Valdez. If you're going to make the trade for Tucker and Alex Bregman walks, you might as well sign Valdez. I don't think Valdez is going to get an 8-year, $218 million contract. I don't. The Yankees overpaid for Fried. Fried saw the Yankees' money. They showed their hand, and he forced them to do that because he's like, okay, fine, I'll go somewhere else.
Because the Red Sox were going after him.
Exactly. No, that's the thing. He played his hand correctly, and good for him. Good for these guys getting what they get. I know we say it's too much money, but if you were in their shoes, you'd be the same dang thing.
Yeah. All right, guys. That's all we got for this edition of Locked On Astros podcast. Maybe we'll have something to talk about tomorrow. Guys, thank you for making us your first listen at Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Go and check out the Locked On Astros podcast, and we will see you tomorrow. And Brett?
Go Stros.
What do you say?
Go Stros.